Yeah, you can't really debate this anymore because I know a lot of people want to make it seem like, you know, he was just deranged or maybe it was a mental health situation or whatever. I believe personally that he knew exactly what he was doing and that we got to stop making excuses for people. We were having a conversation about this on After Hours last night. Make sure y'all tap into that channel. If you don't know where it is, you just put After Hours with Anton Daniels in the description. But we was having this discussion, and the discussion kind of turned into, is it controlled? Is it whatever, so on and so forth. And Molly, one of the panelists, was like, yo, we got to stop making excuses for people, and we just got to start calling it what it is. You got to hold people accountable. This was a guy, he probably was a black guy, and he targeted a smaller white woman. The fact that she was a woman made her a target. The fact that she sat in front of him made him a target. And, the fact that she was white probably played a role in it. And this guy who got let out and allegedly was arrested, I believe, like 14 times or something like that. And then you combine it with the fact that a bunch of white women been getting their lights punched out over in Chicago when I did a reaction video to that also. You got to start acknowledging the fact that these people are evil, flat out. They just evil across the board. And you can't ignore the fact that it was possibly a hate crime. And now that he said, I got that white girl, it makes it that much more explosive because, number one, if we just being honest, if it was a black man, or I'm sorry, a white man in the same position and he attacked a black woman and killed her, everybody would be protesting. You would have Al Sharpton out there. Ben Crump would probably be representing the family. And then y'all would have a GoFundMe up immediately in order to have somebody hold this guy accountable as well as support the family. On the flip side, it feeds into the narrative even more because you can't now say that it wasn't a hate crime because he said, I got that white girl, you know what I'm saying? And she was Ukrainian and she said, I got that white girl. And now it gives even more credence to people that's saying that people need to separate themselves based off of race because of the inherent danger of who you look like and what you represent. And so this is the problem, man. When y'all overcorrected for racism in the past and they start doing all of this Black Lives Matters and separation, and just because, we saying Black Lives Matters don't mean that all lives matters. We want to be all of that other stuff and that further separation and stuff. All it did was create an explosive environment to where when you see something like this happen, now white people, and I'm just going to keep it 100. I'm not going to sugarcoat it or nothing. Now white people are saying, well, we want to separate ourselves. And you see what's happening with the Ozarks in Arkansas. And I can't sit there and say, hey, y'all shouldn't do whatever it is that y'all want to do. And as long as they're not hurting nobody, then I think that people can do what they want to do. But it creates an environment that makes things even more explosive because now what you look like feeds into the crime that you do, and people are automatically, no matter whether you're white or black, and you the perpetrator or you the victim, if it's the opposite race that then perpetuates the crime by default, people are automatically going to say that it was racially motivated. And I can't say that this is not racially motivated when he said, I got that white girl. Here's Trump's response to the whole situation and what he had to say about it.
For far too long, Americans have been forced to put up with Democrat-run cities that set loose savage, bloodthirsty criminals to prey on innocent people, really very, very innocent people. In every place, they control radical left judges, politicians, and activists, and they've adopted a policy of catch and release for thugs and killers. In Charlotte, North Carolina, we saw the results of these policies when a 23-year-old woman who came here from Ukraine met her bloody end on a public train. And here's a picture of it. This is the picture of it. And this is a picture of the woman, a beautiful young girl that never had problems in life, with a magnificent future in this country. And now she's dead. She was slaughtered by a deranged monster who was roaming free after 14 prior arrests. We cannot allow a depraved criminal element of violent repeat offenders to continue spreading destruction and death throughout our country. We have to respond with force and strength. We have to be vicious just like they are. It's the only thing they understand. 24 of the top 25 most dangerous cities in America are run by Democrat mayors. 50 people were murdered in Chicago in recent weeks, with hundreds being shot. And it's time to stop this madness. The people of our country need to insist on protection, safety, law, and order. We have proven that it can be done because we did it right here in D.C., in District of Columbia. The capital of America was a bloodthirsty, horrible, dangerous place, one of the worst. And now it's a crime-free city, and we're going to keep it that way. It can be done. It can happen fast. All we want is, please, Mr. President, we need help. Chicago needs help. Other cities need help. We'll do what has to be done because we're going to make America safe again, and that includes our big cities. We're going to make those cities safe.
And so now, it gives even more precedence to the federal government to step in also in these cities and take over, because the citizens and the system continues to fail people. You can't walk down the street. You can't catch a train. You can't do anything. And women aren't safe. Kids aren't safe. And nobody is safe, because the possibility of you catching an L where you're suffering, it rises when you get on public transportation or you live in these cities. And so not only is it considered a hate crime, the President of the United States of America got to now jump in, but he's now being federally charged.
This is breaking news. The Justice Department is filing federal charges against Carlos Brown Jr. That is, of course, the man seen on this video in the red hoodie before stabbing the Ukrainian refugee Irina Zarutska to death on that Charlotte transit train. Brown is being charged with one count of committing an act causing death on a mass transportation system. In a statement, the Attorney General Pam Bondi has said, "I have directed my attorneys to federally prosecute Carlos Brown Jr., a repeat violent offender with a history of violent crime, for murder. We will be speaking, they will be seeking," Pam Bondi says, "the maximum penalty for the unforgivable act of violence. He will never again see the light of day as a free man if convicted." Brown faces a maximum statutory sentence of life in prison or death.
So they're trying to federally charge him because obviously the system that he'd been arrested for 14 times prior failed this woman, and it's one of the reasons why they're blaming the system for her untimely demise. And again, now that we have the audio, and you see how slow they was, were to release the audio. Now that we have the audio, it's hard for us to say that this wasn't a hate crime. It absolutely was a hate crime. And was it racially motivated? That is something that people are going to be debating, and we're going to be having a conversation about going forward. What do you guys think? Do you think that now that we've released this, and now I'm going to ask y'all two questions that I want y'all to kind of give me some insight on in the chat. The first question is, do you think that it was racially motivated? Because, him saying that obviously adds more into the conversation. And then B, do you think that our culture and our experience with each other, interacting with each other here in America, now gets exponentially worse because of what it is that he said, and now the additional details is making things worse because we've been overcorrecting for so long, and now people are revolting against what it is that they see. Let me know inside of the comments. Make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description. T. Genley, 40% off your first order, 20% off for life. I love you. I appreciate you. I'm holler at you guys later.